as a startup founder, 90% of your job is networking. Honestly, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Right? You just need to network. And that kind of goes through even if you move on from your startup at some point, get into investing, you still need to network because now you need to network in order to find all these cool startups.
This is the Startup Junkies Podcast.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Startup Junkies Podcast. My name is Daniel Kuntz. Thank you for tuning in however and wherever you're tuning in from. Today is a special episode because we actually have a returning guest. He is the new director of 412 Angels, Mr. Chris Ehrhardt.
Hey.
Chris,
Hello, everybody.
How are you doing today, sir?
Pretty good. Thank you for having me again.
Yeah, well, I wasn't around the first time we had you on the episode or on the podcast.
It's been a while.
You were telling me beforehand, if you let the audience know, when was the last time you were on the Startup Junkies podcast?
It was almost to the date, exactly 10 years ago. I think it was 27th of July, 2016. So it's been a minute, but yeah, glad to be back.
Yeah. So if you're listening to this episode and you want to go back to Chris's first time he was on the podcast, scroll down really far.
Way far.
Yeah. Well, for any of our listeners who maybe don't want to scroll that far, the way we like to start these episodes, give us your, as Jeff calls it, your Marvel origin story. Give us your background, Chris.
Okay, I'll try to keep it short because it's a long story, but originally I was born in Germany, so that's where I'm originally from, and I came over here to the United States as an exchange student in high school. I don't know if y'all know that, but if you sign up for that, you don't get to choose where you go. You get to go wherever a family will adopt you. And turns out a family in Lincoln, Arkansas adopted me. So just outside of Fayetteville here. So I moved here for high school, graduated, then went to college in Texas. And then after college, went back to Europe, but wanted to come back over here to live permanently. Was difficult at the time because, I was just out of college, didn't have a track record. So all the visa options that I had were very short term. However, I started a company at the time while I was in Europe, a music tech company. And Canada, they had a new program available at the time, which was called the Startup Visa Program. The concept was you bring your startup to Canada, you get the permanent residency, which is kind of like the green card over here. So my then girlfriend, now wife, we were like, okay, let's move to Canada. So got the business to Canada and got the permanent residency in Canada, which also opened up the US for us because now we could travel back and forth. Started the whole startup thing, fundraising, part of the reason why I was here. And yeah, so grew that company until 2021, at which point we then became Canadian citizens, and I went into business consulting. So from 2021 until just recently, I was working mostly in business consulting, helping small, medium-sized businesses, as well as working with accelerators and incubators, mostly in Canada still, helping their portfolio companies, kind of like an entrepreneur in residence. And then in 2024, it was finally time to come back home to the States. So one of my clients, he hired me, he's a government consultancy firm. He hired me to help his clients implement AI and automation into municipal governments in Texas. So for the past 2 years, I've been working on that. And then the role in Bentonville with 412 Angels opened up. And I was like, that sounds pretty cool. Texas and Arkansas have always been kind of like my home in the United States. So what better opportunity could there be to kind of, have those two in my life going forward? So here I am.
Yeah. So a little bit of this, a little bit of that. You've been everywhere, it sounds like.
I've done, mostly, startup founding and then working with startups as well as with businesses and consulting. That's my main background.
Yeah. We see a lot of founders go that route of founding a business, exiting it, and then kind of going into business consulting or coaching. Can you tell us a little bit about that startup you had in Canada? And what did that exit process look like for you?
Yeah. So the startup in Canada /US was always a US business, even though we were based in Canada. It's called Tunely. It's a music tech startup. We haven't exited yet. We put another CEO in place It's based out of Los Angeles. It's a music company that allows songwriters to create music online instead of having to go to a recording studio. And yeah, it's still running up to today. And nowadays it's like, okay, well, no big deal, making music online. But 2015, that was kind of new at the time, so it was a novel idea at the time when we started it back then.
Yeah. So you haven't officially exited.
No.
Okay. So what's your role with the company still?
Just a shareholder. So yeah, I'm no longer involved in the day-to-day, but I still own a good chunk of the company.
Okay, that's very cool.
Yeah.
So you're now the director of 412 Angels.
Correct.
For any of our audience who maybe isn't local, what is 412 Angels, and can you kind of explain your role?
Yeah. So 412 Angels is an angel group based out of Bentonville. It's part of Endeavor Heartland, and for the most part, what we do is we invest in early stage, pre-seed and seed stage tech companies, mostly in what we consider the heartland, which is obviously Northwest Arkansas in general, Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, and Texas. But on the other side as well, we're an angel group that is very friendly to new angel investors. So a big part of what we're trying to do is explain what angel investing is. Like there's a lot of money in Northwest Arkansas, and a lot of people made a lot of money here in the corporate world, in real estate. But they don't know how angel investing works. They maybe seen Shark Tank, but that's not really angel investing, right? So a lot of what we do is education on what angel investing is, how it works, what are the ins and outs of it, and just try to get people more comfortable funding innovation rather than just putting their money into stock or real estate.
Yeah. So you guys you're helping fund startups, but you're also growing that angel investor base.
Correct.
As well. Why is that so important?
Well, especially in a place like Northwest Arkansas, it's super important to fund fresh ideas in order to not lose that brain power, that human capital. Put yourself into the shoes of a startup founder. You're from here, you start your business, everything is going well. Now you need to raise your first round of funding, and you can't find any local money. So what do? Naturally, you're going to look at, Texas or the coastal cities, right?
Yep.
And what's going to happen? You start putting roots down there, and eventually you're just going to leave the area. And for a region like Northwest Arkansas, it's super important to build that startup ecosystem in order to keep those talent here. Number one, for the startup, but then also what's beyond the startup. Like these founders, they won't run that startup forever. At some point, they might start a small business in the local community, start getting hired at companies. But if they left, you kind of lost that capital,
Yeah. We see there's a lot of pool of great talent here in Northwest Arkansas. And we do a couple of programs where we've seen people move away because there's not infrastructure or maybe there's not the funding that's necessary. Yeah. And that kind of sucks to see.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
See someone grow here and then just go to Los Angeles, or go to New York or Boston.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's super important as we continue to build that funding, that base.
Yeah. Especially in the pre-seed seed stage. I think that's still very much lacking. We have some later stage funding opportunities in the state, but the pre-seed seed stage, I think we can do way more than we're doing right now.
Yeah. So you guys are angel investors.
Yes.
So what's the difference between an angel investor and a venture capitalist?
Well,
the age-old question, because a lot of people, they kind of go hand in hand when they think of funding.
Yeah, and they're not wrong, but they kind of are. It's very similar. It's just angel investors, they would come in at a much earlier stage than for example, VCs. And a VC is an actual fund. So you as an individual, you wouldn't necessarily vet an idea or vet a founder if you are invested in a VC firm, right? Like you just write a check and let the managing partners basically do all the vetting and everything. With an angel group like ours, number one, it's much smaller checks that you're writing, right? Like most VC firms, they have a minimum check size of $250,000.
Right.
So, we're part of Endeavor. I mentioned that. We have a fund as well. It's called the Catalyst Fund. I believe our minimum check size is $250,000. With 412 Angels, you can write a $5,000 check, and that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
if you just want to invest in one company a year. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And you're also more involved. You actually get to know the founder. You get to do some due diligence. We do fun events every month. So it's more of a community rather than here's my check and just do whatever with it.
Yeah. Best of luck to you.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really cool because I think a lot of founders, they get this idea, I need to go the venture capital route. I need to raise a lot of money, where most like small businesses, they don't need $250,000,
Not necessarily. Yeah. I mean, we have if y'all want to check it out, we have a blog on 412angels.com. I explain the different stages of startup funding there, starting with the FFF round, Friends, Family, and Fools, going all the way to Series A, and who are the investors in each of those rounds. And I mean, FFF, kind of, it's Friends, Family, and Fools. That's what it stands for. But pre-seed, you're mostly looking at micro VCs or angel groups. You're not hitting up the big VC firms if you're raising a pre-seed round. It's just not. They're not interested in that.
Yeah, and you guys fit in perfectly right there. So if I'm an entrepreneur in Northwest Arkansas, when is the right time to start reaching out to angel investors, maybe building those relationships?
Much, much earlier than you think.
Okay. As soon as possible, maybe.
As soon as possible. You don't want to start reaching out to angels when you need money. That's too late.
Yeah.
You want to reach out whenever you start building, and you even think that at some point you might need money, start building those relationships. Me being in this role and me having been a startup founder who raised funds, I kind of see both sides of it. And I've made a lot of mistakes that, founders today make, and I can kind of pass that on. One of the mistakes I did make was sometimes waiting a bit too long before building relationships. An angel investor will not write you a check, 5 minutes after they met you.
Right.
It's just not going to happen. So start building relationships early. Start, looking who are the people writing checks in your community, and just start networking with them. And if you don't need it down the road, well, great. You make great connections anyways.
Yeah.
And if you do need it, well, now you have a warm list of people that you can reach out to.
Yeah. So what strategies should an entrepreneur use? It's time to meet angel investors.
Yeah.
Where do I go?
Events. There are so many events happening in Northwest Arkansas. Check out the Ledger. That's where we're based out of. They always have events. I always put up events with 412 Angels. Endeavor has always events going on. Just see what are the events. I know y'all do a lot of events. There's one coming up in September, I want to say, right?
Yeah.
The Startup Crawl.
Startup Crawl.
Yep.
Yeah, good call. Good call out. Thank you.
So check out the events that are happening in the area and just attend.
Yeah. You never know who you're going to meet.
That's the thing.
Yeah. We tell people just show up and meet a couple new people every single time. One of these times you can get really lucky. You can meet a business partner, you can meet an angel investor, you can meet whoever.
Yeah. Well, that's really what it is. Like, as a startup founder, 90% of your job is networking. Honestly, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Right. You just need to network, and that kind of goes through. Even if you move on from your startup at some point, get into investing, you still need to network, because now you need to network in order to find all these cool startups.
Yeah.
Right. So it's always networking.
It's a cycle.
Yeah.
Right.
100%.
Especially I feel like here in Arkansas, where a lot of the stuff we do around here is so relationship based.
It is.
Especially angel investing.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to meet somebody, not going to get somebody you meet 5 minutes ago.
No, that's not. And it's not just Northwest Arkansas. Like, I've lived here, I've lived in Texas, I've lived all over Canada. It's the same everywhere. It's all relationship based. It rarely is like a transactional thing. Early stage, later stage, it becomes more transactional, obviously, right?
Yeah.
But early stage, like, angel investors don't necessarily invest in your business. They invest in you as a person. And how can you make up your mind about a person that you just met? Like, it takes some time.
Take some time. And a lot of our clients are those smaller stage companies or early stage companies. And you're not going to do business with somebody you don't trust.
Yeah.
So get out there, meet people. It's hard to build trust behind a computer screen.
Oh, yeah. Of course.
So come to Startup Junkie events is basically what I'm hearing, right?
Exactly.
The Startup Junkies podcast is brought to you in part by Arise. Arise helps Arkansas tech and tech-enabled startups grow with no-cost coaching, capital navigation, and expert connections so founders can scale faster. Learn more at arisearkansas.org.
Cool. Well, I want to go back to your time. I know you're still doing it, but as a business consultant, what are some of the traits that founders have that you consider maybe overrated?
Traits that I find overrated.
Mm-hmm.
Being good at product early stage. Like a lot of people, they try to focus so much on their product itself. And it's important to have a good product, but early stage, man, your product is going to pivot so much anyways,
Right.
right? So focus less on product, focus more on problem solving. That's usually what I recommend. And I see founders all the time. I still mentor a lot of founders. They are so focused on their product, and I mean, they're super talented building beautiful products that doesn't solve a problem.
Yeah.
And you can build the most beautiful and most best working product.
Mm-hmm.
If it ain't solving a problem, guess what? Nobody's going to buy it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So I guess the most overrated skill, in my opinion, right, for early stage founders is being good at building a product.
Mm-hmm. And if you keep building your product waiting for it to be perfect,
Yeah.
you're never going to start.
No, that's
Right.
That's the other thing. Yeah.
All right. So we'll go on the opposite end. What's an underrated trait that you see in founders?
Being coachable. I think that's the number one underrated trait. A lot of people, they feel like, okay, I know the industry so well. Well, yeah, you do. And as a consultant, I may not know your industry, but there are things that are the same in every business, right?
Mm-hmm.
And being coachable is super, super important to get that feedback and actually implement that advice that you're getting. If you think, oh, I know everything better, it's going to be hard to work with you, and it's also going to be hard for you to build a business, honestly.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of our clients, they are open to being coachable because, like I said, there are a lot of early stage companies. Where can an entrepreneur go to find a coach or a mentor here in Northwest Arkansas?
Again, events. You go to events. Check out Endeavor. Check out 412 Angels. Obviously, Startup Junkie.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they are around. Like most angel investors, they're also advisors or coaches, and that's the big part of getting into investing or getting investment from angels, because a lot of people see the check. Obviously, I want to raise $1 million. I see the check. But if you go to an angel group, there's so much more. Like within our group, I have 400 people on my mailing list. 30, 40 of them write checks on an annual basis. And those are people who are previous founders, who are former executives, who are lawyers.
Mm-hmm.
They will not just write you a check. They will also advise you. There can be your coaches going forward.
Yeah.
And again, you build those relationships early on. They start coaching you. They start liking you. 6 months later, they might write you a check.
Yeah, that's great advice. Something we always tell people, too, especially here in Northwest Arkansas, find someone who's doing what you're doing, but better.
Mm-hmm.
Find someone who's maybe further along.
They've done that kind of thing.
Reach out to them on LinkedIn. Say, hey, can I buy you a cup of coffee?
Yeah.
Or go to an event and meet them. Go to one of their events, meet them. Hey, can I buy you lunch or something?
Yeah.
Go pick their brain for an hour.
Yeah.
That's a great way that we say that. I mean, I at least tell people, like, go meet people that are doing what you want to do, but they're doing it better than you, or they're doing it. They've been doing it for 10 years.
Yeah.
And that's a great way just get your foot in the door and to learn.
100%. Yeah.
Because I feel like there's just a sense of collaboration here that maybe you don't find in Los Angeles, where
it's a little bit more distributed. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. So I was looking on your website, and there was a quote that stuck out. It says, "Dream bigger, scale faster, pay it forward."
Yes.
What are you guys doing to pay it forward?
What do we do to pay it forward?
Mm-hmm.
It's a good question. I mean, we help founders whether we invest in them or not.
Mm-hmm.
Big example, I met a founder the other day. Was a bit early stage for us in terms of, where he is in terms of his fundraising. Not in terms of his product was great. But in terms of his fundraising, we are a small angel group, so we don't lead investments, right? We need a lead investor, sophisticated lead investor to come in early. The way we pay it forward, for example, is we connect him to the VCs that we know or the larger angel groups that we know that we trust,
mm-hmm.
and just make those connections.
Right.
That's one way of paying it forward. And then the other way, obviously, is we work with a lot of founders, and we always encourage them that, okay, you exit your company or you hit it big. Now come join our angel group or join Endeavor and pay it forward that way through mentoring, through, advising. And that's what we want to build that loop of, okay, we help founders and then we encourage them to help the founders that are coming after them.
Right.
And
yeah, you guys have all this knowledge, but you're not keeping it to yourselves.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
no, and you can't. Like you shouldn't. I mean, some people do, but you shouldn't. Really, right? I mean, you have all that knowledge, and where you're going to take it to your grave?
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make sense. And especially like you go back 20 years, a lot of those mentors, they probably had someone just like that who shared knowledge with them.
Of course,
So it's a very easy pipeline. Just be like, hey, do the same thing.
Yeah.
Very cool. So what do the next couple of years look like for 412 Angels? What excites you?
Oh, there is so much. That could be a podcast episode just on its own. But the big lines is, I do not like the name. So we'll change that going forward.
Yeah. What's an angel? Why are there 412 of them?
No, I mean, the original story is 412 is the highway connecting Tulsa and Northwest Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
But we want to become more of a, broader regional angel group. So, people outside of the 412 corridor, they don't know what 412 Angels is. So
I
want to change the name, to be determined what it's going to be, but look out for that. That's going to happen very soon.
Yeah.
And then obviously expanding our group. I still feel like we haven't even scratched the surface of angels that are available in Northwest Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
As I mentioned, 400 people on my mailing list, about 30 to 40 that are actively writing checks. There are way more people that qualify as angel investors in this region. I just have to turn every stone and find them and explain to them what angel investing is. So growing the group obviously is a big one. And then the other one that I'm super excited about is, right now we're a loose angel group. That's how I would describe it. So a deal comes in, we vet it as a group, and then invite the founder, and then every angel makes his or her own decision whether they want to go in on the deal or not. And if we have enough commitment, we're going to put together an SPV and then invest in the company.
Mm-hmm.
What I want to do is I want to raise a small fund. So we are also an angel fund going forward that can invest from the fund instead of from each individual investor.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I want to do that is, remember, one of the missions is to kind of explain and educate on angel investing. Right now, the way we set up, we can't lead around. So when you lead around, you negotiate the terms with the founder, and you basically the first check in and have others follow on, right? Once we have a fund, I feel like we can do that. And the reason why I want to do that is there's so much to learn actually doing the full due diligence as the first investor in, and then sharing that with smaller investors.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I want to use that fund as, maybe 2 or 3 deals a year that we can lead in pre-seed or seed stages, and then use that as an educational tool to kind of explain, okay, how do we go from we met this founder to now we're writing the check as the first one in, and what are the steps in between?
Yeah, that's super cool. I think that's going to be a huge success.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you guys got some exciting stuff coming up.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. That could be an episode on its own.
Yeah,
So.
we might have to have you on here in a couple months or in 10 years.
In 10 years again.
10 years, yeah. We'll have you on another 10 years from now. Well, cool. So we just took a look to the future a little bit. I don't know if you guys did this 10 years ago, but the way we like to wrap up the episodes nowadays is we like to ask our guests to take a look into the past.
Mm-hmm.
If you had a time machine, you can give younger Chris a piece of advice. What would that piece of advice be?
Oh, wow. Oh, my God. There would be so much advice.
Yeah. It could be Chris from 20 years ago or Chris from yesterday.
Yeah. I want to say I probably would go back to when I started my company and maybe be a little bit more conscious about how to build it in a way. I was full steam ahead, 99.9% of the time. And I feel like I should have slowed down every now and then and observe more to make more conscious decisions on how we build it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I was always in a race, and I always felt like I'm missing out. Or if they're not going to meet that investor, I'm going to miss out. And I see a lot of this when I'm meeting founders now. They're sitting across the table from me. And sometimes I just want to shake and be like, man, chill out.
Take a breath.
Exactly. Because it feels like, and I know I felt that way back then. I was like, oh my God, if I don't close that angel, I'm going to be out of business tomorrow. And no, you're not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm like, stress out a little bit less, chill a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be more successful that way if you don't feel like every single meeting determines whether you can continue or not.
Yeah.
And I know I felt that way back then, and I wish I could go back and tell my older Chris back then, be like, hey, you know what? Chill out. It's going to work out no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, that's pretty great advice. We had a founder on recently, and she was talking about when she first started, she felt that she had to dive headfirst into the pool.
Okay.
And she had to learn that, no, it's okay to take baby steps into the pool.
Oh, yeah.
Because you look over the course of a couple of years, how she's able to learn slowly but surely. She was able to build a strong brand out of that. So I think that just ties in perfectly with that.
It does, yeah.
Because there's not a lot of industries there are a couple where it's like, hey, you got to go now.
Yeah.
But
I mean, there are sometimes opportunities that, you know, you got to jump on. But it's not every meeting that way. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
Like sometimes it's just to meet someone and build relationships. And honestly, if you just met an investor and you have your first meeting, they won't whip out a checkbook and write a check. I've you know, set across many investors. I think I reached out. I checked my emails a while ago to kind of see how many people I reached out to for investment back then. 2,500.
Wow.
I probably met about 10% of them, so 250 people that I met.
Mm-hmm.
Not a single one of them whipped out that checkbook on my first meeting with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But that was always my expectation and hope.
Yeah.
And, I would like to go back and be like, yeah, it's not going to happen.
Yeah. Well, I think that's pretty good advice. So if any of our audience, they want to learn more about you or about 412 Angels, where can they go?
412angels.com. I'm on there as well. So if you want to learn more about me, my bio is on there as well. And that's the best way to see online. I'm also on LinkedIn. You can connect with me there. I don't do any other social media.
Yeah.
So LinkedIn, my website, or pop into the Ledger, 5th floor at the arcade. That's where I'm working out of. If you want to say hi, usually I'm there.
Sweet. We'll make sure to tag all your socials and your website in the show notes. And if you ever change the name 412 Angels down the road, we'll update it.
Yeah, we'll update it, and I'll put a redirect on that. So.
Awesome. Perfect. Well, Chris, thank you so much for coming on.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you guys for following the Startup Junkies podcast on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to share with a friend. Subscribe and review because it matters to us and we want to hear from you. If you're interested in learning how to work with us, check out the information below. See you next week.